Tonight, Port Augusta receives funding for drug and alcohol rehabilitation programs to be distributed through the Stepping Stones Day Centre. And the Kadina Garden that's been wowing visitors for 15 years. The heartwarming backstory of the Comelot Garden Stroll.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Money allocated to Port Augusta in the state budget is set to tackle drunken and antisocial behaviour in the city, with funding also dedicated to tackling the problem at the grassroots level. The City Council hopes lasting change can be achieved.
Money on its way to help those who are struggling. The Port Augusta City Council has welcomed the state government's plans to prevent drunken and antisocial behaviour in the region.
Very positive for Port Augusta. There's been some great announcements within the budget itself when they announced the $1.2 million for the state government to form a group or some type of action plan with the antisocial behaviour.
This new task force will be owned and operated by the state government. The Mayor welcoming this approach, saying it will protect the council and ratepayers from having to cover the costs, as they have in the past for similar programs. The state government is also set to fund drug and alcohol prevention programs to tackle addictive behaviour before it becomes a larger issue.
$4 million announced for drug and alcohol beds to help those unfortunate people and to help the people that are helping those people. So that's very important. Hopefully we can save some lives and get people on track by doing that.
Saying grassroots programs are not only a way to clean up the streets, but a way to help people get back on their feet, reducing the strain addiction can have on families and the wider community.
So that'll be shared, I assume, through both the Stepping Stones and the other program that runs here now.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 32-year-old man has been charged after allegedly leading police on a pursuit in Broken Hill over the weekend. Officers from Broken Hill Traffic and Highway Patrol detected a Honda motorcycle speeding along Silver Street at around 1:45 on Saturday afternoon. It will be alleged the rider not only failed to stop, he sped up and a pursuit was initiated. Police say that after that, the rider left the road travelling along a dirt track, at which point the pursuit was terminated. A short time later, the bike was back on the main road, where police say it was clocked going more than 100 kilometres an hour in a 50 zone. The bike eventually crashed and the man was arrested and charged. He's since made bail and will reappear at Broken Hill Local Court at the end of the month. It started off as a hobby and a love for gardening. The Comelot Garden Stroll in Kadina is described as a unique sensory and visual garden experience and has raised thousands of dollars for different charities over the years.
In early 1995, Helen and Dean Rodder purchased their home in Kadina, with no idea their garden would go on to win multiple awards. It all began in 2007, when the local bowling club asked to host an event in the garden.
From then on, we decided to open the garden to charities and organisations to raise some funds, and we've been doing it ever since.
It's hard to believe the Rodders didn't start this garden with a comprehensive blueprint. Instead, they say each section and theme slowly revealed itself as time passed.
The garden has been done in all different stages as we could afford the time and money to plant it out. And people won't believe that I haven't designed it all at once, but it's just been done by bit and bit.
Helen says she comes up with the ideas and Dean makes them a reality, putting to use his skills as a carpenter.
Will eventually give in and do what I would like. So it's been a team effort. We love coming out here. We enjoy it for playing croquet in. Our grandkids love it now.
Since opening for events all those years ago, the gardens have helped raise over $133,000 for almost a dozen charities. The Cancer Council is a charity particularly close to the Rodders' heart, and funds they have raised for the organisation have gone towards the refurbishing of the oncology unit at the Wallaroo Hospital. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, belated celebrations in the streets of Kimber after winning an agricultural award late last year. And best of the best, Broken Hill PCYC raising money to help get a team to the Nations of Origin Championship in Nelson's Bay. Welcome back. Kimber has finally celebrated being crowned South Australia's Agricultural Town of the Year with a formal dinner. The evening celebration, a chance to thank local community members and primary industry staff for their role in the town's big win.
An agricultural award that's seeing a town continue to grow. Kimber was crowned South Australia's Ag Town of the Year in the state's regional showcase last November, after COVID restrictions continued to halt plans for a town celebration. The Kimber Council has taken the opportunity to finally celebrate the win with a formal dinner.
Tonight's a celebration. Kimber's been named the 2021 Agricultural Town of the Year, and tonight's just a celebration to bring the community together.
Agriculture is such a major part of our region's economy, but also community, and really having the recognition of Kimber as the Agricultural Town of the Year is not just about farming, but it's about the whole community.
The member for Flinders says the region is no stranger to taking out awards, with 2 of the last 3 winners of the Agtown Trophy being on the Eyre Peninsula.
Cleve in the inaugural year and then Kimber this year is really exciting, and it is a reflection that agriculture is such a major part of our economy.
The council says the extra media attention brought on by the award has seen the town's tourism numbers spike.
It's really a unique opportunity that we have to be able to highlight our communities on a platform that's the whole statewide.
We're trying to use this award as a springboard to promote our community and all the great things we've got happening here.
The Mayor says the trophy is a welcome reward to the Kimber community for their ability to endure through the challenges presented to them in recent years.
It's been a tough few years in rural South Australia. You know, we've had droughts, we've had a global pandemic, even floods in January. It's amazing. So to win this prestigious award is really important, and it really boosts the spirits of our community.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Broken Hill PCYC will be taking 30 kids to Nelson's Bay to compete in the Nations of Origin. The event will take place in the second week of the school holidays and will include 65 PCYC clubs from around the state.
13 kids from Menindee, Wilcannia and Broken Hill will be travelling for the annual event, which sees sport integrated with culture, education and leadership. The statewide program is back after being cancelled last year due to COVID restrictions. The program is often described as being a life-changing experience for those who stay on track in order to be selected.
Anyone that's disengaged from school, it's a bit of an incentive to get them to stay in school, so they have to have an 80% attendance. And it's just where all the kids come together and we all participate in sports.
While basketball and rugby league are the most well-known sports on the roster, there's also some lesser-known activities participants can play.
Gymnastics, netball, football fives, which is soccer for them, which it's not football, which is what we would think it is.
The club has been fundraising for the event. Over the long weekend, they had a sausage sizzle in the Home Hardware car park and did pretty well in the chilly conditions.
The previous manager, Heather, she did do some fundraising prior to, which was great. It's a big help. So it's only just started with our barbecue that we had on Sunday and Saturday at Home Hardware, which we got just over $500, which is great.
That's not the end of the fundraising for the organisation, with plans to raise a bit more cash in the lead-up. They are also accepting any donations from the community.
Probably not this weekend coming because we do have Active Fest, which we're jumping on board with the council in the Sturt Park. But yes, going forward we will have something, we just don't have times and dates yet.
Nations of Origin is scheduled to be held over 4 days from July 12 to 15. Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Why the Fat Tyre Festival in Melrose is more than just a bicycle meetup. And our reporter Henry Milley recaps all the action from the Mortlock Shield over the long weekend. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. If you've ever wanted to become a firefighter, then this next story is for you. Broken Hill Fire Brigade has put the call out to locals to join the ranks in the hopes of getting more on-call staff.
Good news for anyone who wants to be a firefighter. Broken Hill Fire Brigade wants you. The station is looking for more than just a few people to put their hands up.
So we're currently looking for approximately 12 on-call firefighters, and they're split across the central station on Glen Street and also the south station over on Patton Street.
The ranks are short of on-call firefighters. Some have been promoted to permanent, while there also has been some who have relocated.
And we're sort of reaching out to the public just to stimulate some interest and see if anybody thinks that they might be interested in applying for the role.
There's no need to worry if you think the process will be too difficult.
They submit a written application online, they do some a physical aptitude test, medical testing, and then also an interview process as well, and then they get offered a position from there.
There is a little bit of travel involved after the online component is done, as successful applicants will need to go to Deniliquin or Sydney for some further training. But ultimately, you'll be stationed in the Silver City.
Then they'll be required to travel briefly either to Deniliquin or off to Sydney for their initial phase training, we call it, which is their initial recruit training. And then they continue with ongoing training here at the station on duty.
If you think being a firey is up your alley, visit the Fire New South Wales website for more information. Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Melrose is known as the cycling hub of South Australia, as it's home to some exceptional mountain bike trails. However, the Fat Tyre Festival is so much more than just bikes. It's about bringing the family to the gateway of the Flinders Ranges for the annual event.
This year, the Fat Tyre Festival celebrated its 19th anniversary in style. Owner and operator of Over the Edge, Richard Bruce and his wife have been the main event organisers for the past 10 years. And as they found out, a lot can change in a decade.
Become a very family-friendly event. So, and the way we've managed that is by not having competitive events within the Fat Tyre Festival.
However, everyone is still given the opportunity to hop on a bike and witness some professional BMX riders, as well as experiencing all the treasures Melrose has to offer.
To get kids outdoors more and more and get them connected with nature through the humble mountain bike is just so important.
Being held on the long weekend, the event gives people the ability to relax and fully immerse themselves in the experiences.
You know, we've held it in that long weekend since 2008, since we started, and it's just become known that's the Fat Tyre Festival is on. It's Queen's birthday weekend. It's Fat Tyre Festival. Let's go there, and we see a lot of repeat visitors coming back year on year.
If you couldn't make it this year, be sure you visit for the 20th anniversary. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
It's one of Port Lincoln's biggest weekends on the calendar, with the best players from across the Eyre Peninsula facing off in this year's Mortlock Shield. Large crowds gathered at Centenary Oval during the 3-day carnival to see their favourite players battle it out for the footballers' top prize.
5 teams competed in the longest country carnival in Australia over the weekend, but there could only be one winner. It was Lincoln District who took care of Western Eyre in the Shield's curtain raiser, beating them 6 goals 9 to 4 goals 3. Tynan Keeley, one of the standouts, securing 3 goals for his team. The next game not as high scoring, with Eastern Eyre proving too strong for Lincoln City, beating them by just 8 points. Large crowds flocked to the stands to support their home teams. Mortlock Shield president happy with the turnout.
We were so lucky. It's been an awesome weekend. The weather has been just so kind to us, even though it drizzled first thing Saturday morning and scared us all, but it has been fabulous.
Some high quality football was played over the 3 days, but it was defending champions Great Flinders who proved to be too dominant again, winning both their matches on Saturday. Yoey Wagner was a standout, kicking a bag of 6 goals when his side took on Lincoln City. This year's carnival holding extra incentive for players, hosting a grand final on Monday. In the end, it was Eastern Air taking on Great Flinders in the big dance. A match that came down to the wire. Great Flinders managed to hold off Eastern Air's late comeback, defeating them 41-33. Great Flinders making it 3 on the trot.
And as you saw the score, it was so close, which is really good. And I think everyone really enjoyed seeing that it was a grand final. So that's really good. It's good to sort of try different things.
Some of the carnival's biggest winners saw Daniel Minnie from Lincoln City claim the best and fairest award. The leading goal kicker trophy went to Sid Masters from Eastern Air after kicking an impressive 10 goals. Despite the challenges of COVID, the carnival rallied together for another successful weekend of footy.
Teams and the leagues have been so good. They've taken on all the challenges from COVID, etc., and numbers and having to lose the league last year.
And that's a wrap for this year's Mortlock Shield. We'll be back to normal league games this Saturday.
Stay with us after the break. From squash to 8-ball to volleyball and soccer, we have the weekend wrap of all things sport in the Spencer Golf. And we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. It might have been the Queen's birthday, but that didn't stop sporting teams from competing in their respective leagues this weekend, followed by some highly contested matches with soccer associations from across the region battling it out in this year's state champs. Our reporter Henry Millick has the details.
The long weekend saw plenty of sporting action across the region, with some associations travelling to Adelaide to compete. Kicking things off with the much anticipated South Australian Junior Soccer Association State Championships. The Port Lincoln Association took over 4 teams to compete in the new State Centre for Football at Jepps Cross. Here the under-15s played 6 games and competed strongly. The motivated side kicked off their campaign with a 1-1 draw with Adelaide Hills. In the next game, they took on the Riverland and went down by 3 goals. However, the boys tried to bounce back when facing off in their second game against Adelaide Hills, but lost by 2 goals. The young team continued to play with pride, but fell short against Limestone Coast 2-3 in the final match. The under-16 girls had a better run, starting their championship campaign with a 4-1 win over Adelaide Hills. However, in the afternoon, they suffered a 4-0 defeat to the strong Riverland side. The girls fought well with 2 draws, went up against Whyalla and Port Pirie. They then finished with 2 huge wins, one over Limestone Coast, defeating them 3-0, and the other over Broken Hill, slotting 5 goals to none. Moving on to Port Lincoln Squash in round 9 now. Interact defeated Hankins Electrical 3-1. It wasn't a good night for the electrical companies, with iHawk Building defeating PS Electrical 10-5. Harry Izzo a standout, winning his match 3-1. Over the pond in Port Pirie saw some competitive volleyball matches take to the court. In the first A-grade game, it was CTTPE, who were too good for the Mad Lads, defeating them 3-1. Ben Patter and Andrew Wright being named in the best players. In the other match, it was the title of your set tape, who cruised to a 4-0 win over Hammer Time. Carol and Connor named in the best players for their performances. And 8-ball Paul is heating up, going into their final rounds. In Group A, it's the Shamrocks who have taken out the top spot, defeating City Slickers 6-3. And in the last match, it was the Old Firm who swiftly defeated the Left Hand Cats 6-1. And that's about it for this week's Sports Wrap. We'll be back next week to bring you up to date with all of the region's sport.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, a chilly start to the day in Port Augusta, but that's not unusual for this time of year.
That's right, Maddie. The coolest it got was 6.6 degrees at 4 a.m. That's in line with the June average, which was 6.7 degrees in 2021. So it's pretty much just as cold as it was this time last year. Elsewhere, Cooper Pedy reached 23 degrees today, 18 in Kadina. Broken Hill was sunny with a top temperature of 14 degrees. Looking more broadly at today's weather map now, 19 was the top temp in Port Augusta, Whyalla and Port Lincoln. 17 degrees in Port Pirie after the overnight low of 8.2 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a low pressure trough southwest of Kangaroo Island will move eastwards to be near Tasmania tomorrow. A high pressure system will develop in the far west tomorrow afternoon and then move slowly eastwards over the state. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Winds will be northwesterly, 15 to 20 knots up to 30 knots south of Port Neal to Port Victoria early in the morning. Seas will be between 1 and 2 metres, while the swell will be south to southwesterly around 1 metre. Between 11 degrees and 18 degrees in Port Lincoln tomorrow, showers in Cleve, 18 the top there as well. Woodna 1 degree warmer, showers and 19 degrees. Partly cloudy in Whyalla, also set to reach a top of 19 degrees. Port Augusta down to 9 degrees tonight, warming up to 21 tomorrow with a shower or two. Kadina between 11 and 17 degrees. Port Pirie showers and set to reach 19 on Wednesday, 15 the top in Clare, Broken Hill is sunny and 18 degrees. Taking a look further through the week, moving on to Thursday's forecast now. Clear skies down the left-hand side of our map. Bit of rain expected in places like Port Pirie, Kadina and Adelaide. Checking Friday's weather map now, and all of those rain icons have disappeared. Temps on the mid to late teens, Cooper Pedy with the warmest, temperature 21 degrees. And having a quick look at Saturday's temperatures now, 19 degrees in Port Augusta, Whyalla, Port Lincoln and Port Pirie, 16 degrees over the border in Broken Hill, partly cloudy conditions with some light winds. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. Maddie, I'll be back later with an update. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Tuesday. I'm Madeline Kerr. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.